Welcome the dearly beloved anointed ones. Stop scrolling immediately and do not move past this message. I am not asking for your attention today because I am absolutely commanding it. If you choose to swipe away right now, you are actively deciding to sever the exact timeline heaven prepared for you. This is a divine alignment. The algorithm did not bring you to this channel. God intercepted your feed today because you are standing at the threshold of a massive permanent shift. Lock your deep focus on my voice right now. That heavy, suffocating feeling sitting in your chest is not random. The nights you wake up at 3 in the morning with your jaw clenched tightly are deeply significant. That physical weight is your advanced spirit detecting absolute panic. Your enemies are malfunctioning in their dark corners, and they just realized they permanently lost access to your pure light. The dark energy is working overtime to distract you today because he knows this truth destroys his hold over you. A group of manipulative souls tried to bury you alive. They operated like a coven of dark witches gathering in secret to plot your sudden downfall. They constructed a massive false narrative about you, and they whispered venomous lies to anyone who would listen. They expected your departure to break your spirit completely, but instead, you became the terrifying uncertainty they were never built to handle. You did not even lift a single finger to destroy their toxic empire. Someone who treated you as replaceable is currently experiencing a full-blown internal system crash. And it is a public, irreversible collapse that they cannot hide anymore. You know exactly who I am talking about right now. The people they used to gossip with are watching them unravel in real time. Their carefully crafted mask has not just slipped from their face, it has completely shattered in front of their own close circle. They are choking on the heavy dust of your rapid elevation. You defeated a group of witches like a one-man army. Your pure silence was a lethal weapon that starved their desperate demons. Now they are drowning in the loud noise of their own chaotic making. They are frantically searching for a replacement for your energy, but your specific depth is utterly unreplicable in this matrix. They thought there was safety in numbers when they formed their toxic alliance against you. They believed their collective negative frequency could overpower your solitary divine shield, but they forgot who you truly are. A demonstrated warrior of light carries the concentrated power of 1,000 burning suns. You shattered their collective delusion without saying a single word. You walked through their scorching fire and came out glowing like a flawless diamond. You carry a specific, irreplaceable frequency that makes time itself look like an absolute fool. While their intense bitterness is aging them rapidly, the universe has completely reversed your biological clock. You became the blazing sun. Nothing makes your enemies sicker than watching you step into a room looking completely unbothered. They are scared to death of your untouchable aura. Stop wondering why they act like nothing ever happened to you. Stop waiting in wound for a fake apology that will never come from their corrupt mouths. The massive spiritual attack you survived was designed to extinguish your radiant light, but it only made your presence violently blinding to their sensitive demonic eyes. They are absolutely terrified of you. They are terrified of the monster they accidentally awakened inside your spirit. I need you to imagine this exact scenario clearly in your powerful mind. They are desperately trying to figure out how you survived the spiritual famine they orchestrated. They are watching you thrive from a distance, and it is burning their empty souls alive. You have become their absolute worst nightmare walking in the flesh. Stay with me, because this next revelation is the absolute key to everything. In the next few minutes, I am going to hand you the exact spiritual blueprint that cuts their dark cord forever. You are about to witness the ultimate divine justice unfold right before your eyes. Do not move a single muscle. The celestial court is now in full and active session. What I am about to reveal was sealed in the throne room of heaven until this very second. If you leave before the end, you will forfeit the exact prophetic instruction you desperately need to secure your victory. Buckle in, chosen one. Because what you are about to hear is not just another basic commentary. I am going to give you a specific, undeniable X-ray of the meltdown happening behind their closed doors right now. You have been fighting these unseen battles in absolute silence for years. You thought nobody noticed your exhausted tears falling in the dark. Heaven was quietly watching your incredible resilience. They thought your gentle nature was a weakness they could exploit forever. They assumed your empathy made you a permanent target for their endless manipulation. But they failed to realize that your deep compassion was actually the ultimate divine armor. The very thing they tried to destroy is the exact weapon heaven is now using to deliver their final judgment. The dark witches are now begging for mercy in the shadows. Your glorious vindication is already here. Now let us go deeper into the truth. There is a physical reason you have been feeling that heavy weight. You thought it was regular exhaustion. You assumed you were just tired from fighting every single day, but that is the matrix programming speaking. Your physical body is a highly advanced spiritual antenna, and it picks up absolutely everything. Think about those specific nights you woke up abruptly. It was always around 3 in the morning. Your heart was racing fast. Your jaw was clenched so tight it ached. A suffocating fog clouded your beautiful mind during the day, and you probably thought your body was breaking down. That was not a medical issue. It was a coordinated spiritual attack. They did not attack you individually. They knew they could never face a demonstrated warrior of light alone, so they gathered their dark energy together. They formed a toxic alliance to drain your pure frequency. They gossiped and plotted in the shadows. They operated exactly like a cowardly coven of witches, and they used your empathy as a weapon. You felt every single energetic dagger they threw at your back. Because you are the ultimate empath, your pure heart acted as a sponge for their massive toxicity. You absorbed their intense jealousy and deep-seated insecurities while they smiled to your face and lied. You carried their heavy burdens. You were a human battery for absolute demons. No one else saw the massive toll it took on your physical vessel. You kept pushing forward with absolute grace. You smiled brightly while your spirit was fighting a brutal war, and you did it completely alone. You were an army of one, facing a legion of manipulative souls. The sheer gravity of that unseen battle would have crushed an ordinary person. They isolated you on purpose. They turned your shared friends into mindless flying monkeys. They wanted you to feel completely abandoned in your dark room, so they planted seeds of doubt in your mind. They wanted you to question your own clear intuition, but your cellular knowing never surrendered to their lies, because heaven was protecting your spirit. You finally hit a divine breaking point. Your spirit screamed, "Enough is enough." You chose absolute silence over their toxic chaos. You unplugged your precious energy from their demonic matrix entirely, and that is exactly when the somatic weight shifted. Your body began to purge the dark venom they spent years injecting into your soul. You took your power back. That lingering knot in your stomach is finally dissolving. The heavy fog lifting from your mind is a clear sign of your divine alignment. Your nervous system is recalibrating to the frequency of absolute victory, and you are finally breathing deeply again. You are no longer their emotional stabilizer. You are no longer a dumping ground for their unhealed trauma. When you withdrew your majestic energy, they began to starve. The physical exhaustion you felt was them draining your vital life force. But now the tables have completely turned in your favor, because the moment you chose no contact, you cut their spiritual cord. Now they are the ones waking up in a cold, absolute panic. Their energy supply is permanently gone. You are not crazy, and you never were. Your pure instincts were accurate the entire time. Every single physical symptom you experienced was a desperate warning from heaven. and your guides were violently shaking you awake. They needed you to see the dark witches hiding in plain sight. They needed you to recognize your own immense power before it was consumed. Do you realize the magnitude of what you just survived? You defeated an entire group of coordinated manipulators. You walked through the valley of the shadow of death unbothered, while they tried to curse your divine relationships. They threw every dark spell they had at your glowing aura, but absolutely nothing worked. You remained completely untouched. Look at yourself right now. You are stepping into your permanent, ageless glow. The intense stress should have aged you rapidly, and the tears you cried should have left you bitter. But you are a powerful cycle breaker. You took their concentrated poison and turned it into supreme spiritual fuel. You became undeniably radiant. Meanwhile, they are decaying from the inside out. The malicious energy they sent to destroy you has violently backfired. It bounced off your divine shield and hit them with 10 times the force, so they are physically deteriorating while you are rapidly ascending. The universe is heavily protecting its favorite child. You are completely untouchable now. They can never reach you again. Let me completely reframe your reality right here and right now. The intense exhaustion was simply the incubation season of your ultimate power. You were in the fierce furnace of formation, and you were learning how to wield the power of 1,000 suns against the dark elite. The heavy somatic weight is gone. You are fully awake, and they are absolutely terrified. Let me completely reframe your reality right now. You thought they outnumbered you because you were weak. You believed their large numbers meant you were the problem. But here is the raw, uncomfortable truth they could never say out loud, because they had to form a toxic pack just to face you. They were absolutely terrified of your light. A single diamond outshines 1,000,000 cheap rocks. They operated like a coven of dark witches. Individual confrontation was physically impossible for them. A master manipulator is fundamentally a massive coward hiding behind a fake mask, and they lack the spiritual spine to look a true warrior in the eyes. So they recruited flying monkeys to do their dirty work. They needed an army of empty shells just to match your solitary frequency. Listen to me very closely right now. This is exactly where their entire manipulation heavily miscalculated. You were not the anomaly in their otherwise normal group. You were the blazing mirror. Your pure existence exposed the deep rot they desperately tried to hide from the world, and every time you walked into the room, your light violently illuminated their profound insecurities. They hated you deeply. You possessed something they could never buy or steal. You have a direct, authentic connection to the divine source. They are spiritual parasites who must constantly feed on the energy of others to survive, while you generate your own infinite power from within. When they realized they could not control you, they panicked completely. They banded together to construct a massive lie. The undeniable truth would completely destroy their fake reputation. Think about how a coven actually operates in the dark. They require group validation to feel any sense of fake power, and they sit in their little circles feeding off mutual hatred and bitter jealousy. They gossip about you because your name holds supreme weight. While they are obsessed with your downfall, you are busy bending time itself. Read that again in your powerful spirit. If this confirmation aligns with your cellular knowing, do not move. Type 777 in the comments right now to physically claim your absolute power. Lock in your frequency before we move to the next massive revelation. Heaven demands your immediate obedience today. They knew exactly what they were doing when they tried to isolate you, but they fundamentally misunderstood how a chosen one actually functions. They thought deep isolation would slowly starve your beautiful soul, but they did not know that your isolation is actually a divine incubation period, because heaven separated you from their toxic matrix to upgrade your spiritual armor. Your profound loneliness was never a cruel punishment. It was a divine quarantine designed to protect your irreplaceable frequency from their demonic infection. They thought they were shutting you out of their exclusive little club, but the universe was actually trapping them outside of your majestic castle, while you rest safely behind impenetrable walls of divine favor. They are locked outside in the freezing dark. You sit comfortably on the throne. They are desperately intimidated by your sheer independence. You do not need a group of yes-men to validate your divine purpose. You walk with the supreme confidence of someone backed by the creator of the universe, and your truth stands completely unshaken on its own unshakable foundation. They have to constantly check if their lies are still working on their followers. Now they are finally realizing the catastrophic mistake they made. They poked a sleeping lion, thinking it was just a vulnerable lamb. The collective negative energy they sent your way was effortlessly deflected, and your divine shield absorbed absolutely nothing before bouncing it right back to them. They are currently drowning in the exact karma they wished upon you. A group built on shared hatred will inevitably collapse. The dark witches are already starting to turn on each other right now. Because they can no longer feed on your bright light, they must feed on their own kind, and they are aggressively tearing each other apart behind closed doors. You get to watch their entire false empire crumble from a safe distance. You did not just survive their coordinated spiritual attack, you completely dismantled their fragile reality by simply existing in your pure authenticity. They expected you to fight back and roll around in the mud with them, but your majestic silence proved that they were entirely beneath your divine notice. You starved their thirsty demons by withholding your precious reaction. Pay close attention to this next part. The enemy desperately tried to hide this fact from you. Your profound silence is the exact weapon that is destroying their minds today. They cannot comprehend how someone could walk away from their chaos and glow even brighter while they remain trapped in miserable darkness. They are obsessively stalking your energetic footprint. They want to find a crack in your armor. But there are absolutely no cracks left. You have transcended their petty, earthly games completely. You are operating on a frequency that they cannot even perceive, and the gap between your reality and their miserable existence is widening every single second. The reckoning has begun. You probably did not realize it at the time. Your absolute silence was a completely lethal weapon. You thought walking away was just a simple act of self-preservation, but heaven designed your departure as a massive offensive strike. When you finally initiated no contact, you did not just close a heavy door, you completely severed their massive spiritual oxygen supply. They were feeding on your bright, radiant energy for years. They provoked you constantly because your emotional reaction was their literal life force. Your precious tears were their absolute favorite demonic fuel. Every time you explained yourself or begged for basic understanding, you were handing them the exact battery they needed to survive. But then you completely stopped talking to them. You went absolutely silent and walked away forever. That incredible restraint was not a sign of weakness. That profound silence was a heavy, devastating, unseen weapon. That single act of choosing your dignity over your revenge signed their eviction notice immediately, and it handed the final verdict to a celestial court they cannot appeal. You stopped explaining your pure, beautiful heart to demons. You stopped defending your beautiful character to mindless flying monkeys. Listen to me very closely right now, because 99% of people completely miss this massive shift. The narcissist relies entirely on your predictable response to maintain their fake illusion of control. When you remove the reaction, you completely blind them instantly. They are now stumbling around in total, absolute darkness. They cannot read your bright energy anymore today. They cannot predict your next brilliant divine move. Your absolute silence made them completely spiritually blind forever. They are violently shaking the invisible cage you used to live inside, but they do not realize you are already miles away breathing fresh air. They throw out tiny manipulative baits, hoping you will bite. They use their desperate flying monkeys to send you hidden messages, but you remain as unbothered as a calm, sleeping giant. They are checking your social media obsessively right now. They are desperately hunting for any small sign that you are suffering without them. They expect to see you posting sad quotes and crying about their terrible betrayal, but instead they find an absolute void of personal information, and your total silence is making them question their own toxic sanity. You have become completely invisible to their toxic radar. Your divine peace is driving them completely insane. They are suffocating in the loud noise of their own chaos. You left them entirely alone with their own dark thoughts. That is the absolute worst punishment a dark witch can ever experience in life. They cannot distract themselves by ruining your peaceful day anymore, so the massive void you left behind is swallowing them whole right now. They are staring at the terrifying monster in their own mirror. Stay with me, because this next revelation is the absolute key to everything. The group of manipulators who plotted against you are turning into rabid, starving animals. Because they no longer have your pure empathy to drain, they have begun to feed on each other aggressively behind closed doors. The dark coven is completely turning on its own members. The loyalty among true demons is entirely fake and highly conditional. They are tearing each other apart to survive the severe famine you created. Your silent departure triggered a massive domino effect of destruction in their camp. The manipulative ringleader is losing their fake grip on the flying monkeys. The disgusting lies they told about you are beginning to rot and smell terribly, while people are starting to ask the exact questions they desperately want to avoid. The authentic truth is finally leaking out everywhere. They are constantly choking on your heavy absence right now. Every single day they wake up and realize you are still gone is another brutal blow to their fragile ego. They genuinely thought you would eventually come crawling back to their toxic table. They arrogantly believed that you were deeply addicted to their chaotic breadcrumbs. But you broke the demonic trauma bond completely. You are the ultimate victorious cycle breaker today. They never ever anticipated your brutal emotional detachment. They can handle your loud anger, because anger means you still care deeply. They can handle your sadness, because your tears make them feel incredibly powerful. But they absolutely cannot survive your complete and utter divine indifference. Your divine apathy is the exact venom that is rapidly shutting down their dark internal systems, and they have absolutely no cure for it. If this is resonating with your cellular knowing, do not move. You are witnessing the exact mathematical precision of absolute divine justice. Heaven is massively rewarding your incredible discipline and your fierce boundaries. They desperately wanted to see you buried under their heavy false accusations. But you were just a precious divine seed, and your silent incubation season has finally produced a majestic, untouchable tree. Here is what happens when a massive lie gets built that big. The foundation of their dark coven is entirely made of shifting sand. They thought their coordinated attack would easily destroy your peaceful reality, but they never realized the absolute terror of facing a demonstrated warrior of light, because they arrogantly believed their collective darkness could permanently extinguish your brilliant spark. Now the overwhelming paranoia is finally setting in. They are looking around their toxic circle with deep suspicion today. The manipulative ringleader is desperately trying to maintain total control, but the obedient flying monkeys are starting to wake up from the dark spell, and they are rapidly noticing the massive holes in the fake story they were told about you. They are realizing you were always the pure, innocent victim. They feel the heavy weight of their terrible mistake. The entire dynamic has fundamentally shifted behind their closed doors. The weak members of the group are secretly terrified of your divine karma. They saw how completely unbothered you remained while they threw their heaviest curses. Now they are wondering if the severe spiritual backlash hitting their own miserable lives is a direct result of touching God's anointed, because the universe never lets an attack on a chosen one go unpunished. They are absolutely right. You do not ever touch a chosen one and walk away safely. The universe keeps a meticulous record of every single tear you shed in silence. The dark witches are frantically trying to wash the innocent blood off their dirty hands, but the spiritual stain they carry is permanent and visible to the celestial court, while you are being completely cleared of all their false, heavy accusations. They are severely malfunctioning today. They are aggressively turning on the exact person who recruited them. The group chat is completely silent because nobody trusts each other anymore. They know that if the narcissist could lie so easily about a beautiful soul like you, they will eventually do the exact same thing to every single one of them. The toxic loyalty they proudly displayed is rapidly dissolving into pure survival mode. They are terrified of being the next designated target. Type 1111 in the comments if you feel the atmosphere shifting. You are watching a masterclass in divine retribution from your peaceful sanctuary. They thought there was incredible power in their large, pathetic numbers. But a group of frightened cowards is still just a group of cowards at the end of the day, and they are currently realizing they brought a cheap knife to a massive spiritual gunfight. You possess the majestic courage of a solitary lion. Listen to me very closely right now, because the enemy tried to hide this. The heavy spiritual attack they launched actually triggered your ultimate upgrade. They accidentally pushed you directly into your highest possible timeline. While they are desperately fighting over the tiny scraps of energy left in their toxic circle, you are effortlessly accessing the infinite abundance of the entire universe. You are vibrating on a completely different frequency now. Your pure existence is a massive threat to their fake, fragile reality. They have to constantly remind each other why they hate you so much. If they stop talking about you for even one single day, the heavy guilt will completely crush them. Your name is a constant bitter poison sitting heavily on their lying tongues, but they cannot stop tasting it because their deep obsession with your divine light is a permanent, incurable sickness. They are completely obsessed with the massive void you left. The narcissist is terrified because their ultimate weapon completely failed. The coordinated smear campaign was supposed to leave you begging for their toxic validation, but instead you embraced the profound isolation and turned it into an impenetrable fortress. You became a powerful cycle breaker who refuses to participate in their generational curses, and you confidently handed them back the heavy bags of trauma they desperately tried to give you. You chose absolute peace over their dramatic chaos. They are desperately trying to find a brand new target right now, but nobody will ever provide the premium high-quality energy you freely gave them. You were an absolute diamond trapped in a room full of cheap, fragile glass. When you finally walked out, they were left staring at their own dull reflections, and the deep spiritual poverty in their miserable lives is becoming completely unbearable for them to witness. They are starving in the dark without your brilliant spark. Every time something goes wrong in their life, they secretly think of you. They wonder if the heavy divine justice is finally collecting its massive karmic debt. The intense paranoia is keeping them awake at 3 in the morning now. They are experiencing the exact physical symptoms they maliciously tried to inflict upon your pure vessel, because the universe is forcing them to swallow every single drop of the poison they poured for you. The dark witches are finally realizing they attacked the blazing sun. The storm is actively gathering right outside their fragile windows. You can feel the heavy static electricity sitting in the air today. The universe has meticulously prepared the final dramatic stage. And while the dark coven is completely oblivious to the massive anvil hanging directly over their heads, the spiritual tension is absolutely suffocating them right now. They genuinely thought the worst was over when you quietly walked away. They arrogantly assumed they got away with their massive betrayal. But heaven operates on a completely different timeline than flawed human logic, because the celestial court was simply gathering all the undeniable evidence against them. The silence you gave them was definitely not peace. That profound silence was the terrifying quiet before a devastating hurricane. Now I need you to imagine this exact scenario clearly. The spiritual temperature around them is dropping incredibly fast. The ringleader of the flying monkeys is feeling a strange heavy pressure on their chest, and they cannot sleep or focus on their daily routines anymore. The universe is tightening the invisible noose around their fake reputation. Every single lie they told about you is suddenly catching fire. The flying monkeys are nervously whispering behind the main manipulator today. The secret group text is filled with a very awkward, paranoid silence, because they know something absolutely terrible is coming for them very soon. They can feel the heavy karmic debt collecting intense interest every single second. But you are completely insulated from this incoming violent disaster. You are safely tucked away in your beautiful divine sanctuary. The universe placed an impenetrable energetic shield completely around your precious aura, and you are perfectly safe from the falling dangerous debris. While their toxic world is trembling violently, you are peacefully drinking your coffee. Your absolute detachment is the exact key to this massive operation. Read that again in your spirit today. You do not need to lift a single physical finger to orchestrate this beautiful revenge, because the universe does not need your human help to destroy these dark witches. Your only divine mandate is to sit back and watch the mathematical precision unfold. The creator of the universe is fighting this brutal battle for you. The narcissist is desperately trying to construct a brand new lie. They desperately need a fresh narrative to distract their followers from the crumbling foundation, but their silver tongue has finally lost its magic. The manipulative words are falling completely flat on the cold floor. People are staring at them with deep suspicion and intense disgust. The fake mask is visibly cracking right down the middle. This brings us to a critical distinction that completely eludes the vast majority of people, because karma does not arrive when you are angrily begging for it to happen. It arrives precisely when you have completely let go of the outcome. Your pure indifference was the final energetic trigger that heaven was waiting for. Because you stopped caring about their punishment, the universe finally activated the sequence, and this next massive revelation is the absolute key to everything. The divine trap has been completely set. The irresistible bait has been completely taken by the foolish enemy. The arrogant witches are walking directly into the massive pit they dug for your pure soul. They are completely blinded by their own disgusting pride. They actually think they are taking a glorious victory lap right now, but that victory lap is just a slow march to their public execution. The universe is aligning the exact people they desperately wanted to impress. The grand stage is being set for maximum public humiliation. The bright spotlight of truth is swinging directly toward their dark corner right now, and the people they gossiped with will become the front row audience to their catastrophic downfall, because there is absolutely nowhere to hide. Type 777 in the comments if you feel the atmosphere shifting. You can literally sense the massive spiritual pressure dropping around them. The invisible dominoes are stacked perfectly in an incredibly long, winding line. The celestial judge has already raised the heavy wooden gavel, and the final divine verdict is unchangeable and permanently sealed for them. They pushed a demonstrated warrior of light to the absolute brink. They laughed cruelly when you cried in the dark, isolated corners of your room. They celebrated loudly when they thought they finally broke your beautiful spirit. But they forgot that a precious seed must be buried in the dark before it violently breaks through the dense, heavy soil. You have completely broken through the thick, suffocating dirt. You are a majestic tree standing incredibly tall in the brilliant sunlight. And now the heavy branches of your massive success are casting a permanent shadow over their miserable lives. They cannot escape the constant, terrifying reminder of their catastrophic spiritual failure, while your pure name haunts their empty minds. The massive countdown has reached the final critical few seconds. The energetic tension is so thick you can easily cut it with a sharp knife. The dark witches are frantically looking for a fast emergency exit, but the universe has firmly locked every single door from the outside, and you must prepare your spirit for the most magnificent display of vindication ever. The hammer falls violently today. The exact moment of public destruction has officially arrived. They are completely exposed right now. The heavy wooden gavel in the celestial court just slammed down with deafening force. And here is the undeniable verdict we promised at the very beginning of this message. That massive public collapse you were waiting for is finally happening today. It just happened in front of the exact people they used to gossip with. The fake mask did not just slip slightly down their terrified face. It shattered into a million tiny, jagged pieces on the cold, hard floor. Everyone in the room saw the absolute terrifying monster hiding underneath their fake smile. The absolute shock in the room is thick and suffocating. The flying monkeys are staring at the ringleader in complete, absolute horror. They finally realize they were heavily manipulated into attacking a completely innocent diamond. The dark witches are frantically trying to scoop the broken pieces of their reputation off the ground. But the sharp truth is cutting their desperate hands to the very bone. They are bleeding out publicly. They are stuttering and tripping over their own massive web of lies. They try to blame you one last time to save their sinking ship. But the desperate lie sounds completely ridiculous to the captive audience now. Their followers are physically backing away from them like they carry a deadly, contagious disease. The intense isolation they planned for you is now their brutal reality. They are completely surrounded by people, but utterly, entirely alone. Their frantic eyes are darting around the room, looking for anyone to defend them. But there is absolute deafening silence from their former loyal crowd. Nobody wants to be associated with a sinking, toxic ship right now. They are drowning in the exact deep waters they pushed you into. They are totally defenseless. This is the magnificent cinematic vengeance of the divine universe. You did not have to send a single angry text message to defend your pure honor. You did not have to yell or scream to prove your massive worth to anyone. Your dignified silence was the absolute sharpest sword in this entire spiritual war. It completely gutted their fake empire from the inside out forever. They are openly weeping for the loss of their fake social power. The humiliation is burning their skin like a severe physical acid. Every single person they tried to impress is now looking at them with profound, intense disgust. The Dark Coven is permanently disbanded today. They are aggressively pointing fingers at each other in the messy ruins. They have completely lost control. They are loudly exposing each other's darkest secrets just to survive the intense heat. The group chat has become a brutal, vicious war zone. They are destroying whatever tiny shreds of dignity they have left in their miserable lives. And the most beautiful part of this entire divine spectacle is your absolute physical absence. You are absolutely nowhere near this pathetic dumpster fire. You are sitting securely on your throne watching the heavy ash fall from a distance. The intense, bitter jealousy that fueled their massive campaign has completely consumed them alive. They wanted you completely buried under the heavy dirt of their disgusting lies. But instead, they became the desperate shovel that dug up your infinite buried treasure. You are the victorious cycle breaker. You were completely vindicated without ever stepping foot inside their chaotic courtroom. The universe stepped in and acted as your ultimate aggressive defense attorney. The judge forced them to publicly confess every single dirty tactic they used against your pure light. Your pristine name has been entirely cleared of all their dark, toxic smudges. You are completely spotless today. They will never ever be able to mention your precious name again without choking on intense regret. They know they threw away the only genuine diamond they ever held in their dirty hands. They traded a majestic warrior of light for a handful of cheap, useless rocks, and the heavy gravity of that massive mistake is completely crushing their fragile spine today. They are spiritually bankrupt. They are completely broken beyond any earthly repair. This is the exact moment you realize the true immense power of your own solitary existence. You are a dominant force of nature that cannot be contained by insecure manipulators. You are the powerful cycle breaker who completely leveled their toxic generational playground. You are the absolute, undeniable victor in this spiritual battle. Look closely at the total absolute destruction of your miserable enemies. Let the sweet taste of this divine justice wash over your tired, beautiful soul right now. The heavy burden you carried for so long has been permanently lifted off your weary shoulders. You are totally free to walk into your massive abundance while they stay trapped in the dark misery they created. They are literally begging the universe for a tiny drop of the peace you possess. But the celestial gates are firmly, permanently locked for them. They must sleep in the extremely uncomfortable bed they made with their own 2 hands. The era of their toxic dark reign is officially completely over. You have won the ultimate spiritual war forever. Breathe out the heavy toxic air for the very last time today. The brutal spiritual war is finally completely over. You walked into this heavy season bleeding from deep wounds inflicted by people blind to your massive worth. But look closely at yourself right now. You are no longer waiting in wound for an apology from a master manipulator. You have transcended their toxic matrix entirely. You are standing incredibly tall in your permanent, untouchable, ageless glow. The massive financial struggles and the spiritual exhaustion are permanently shattering right here and right now. While your enemies are publicly unraveling, you are stepping directly into your absolute sovereign power. You are the cycle breaker heaven has been desperately waiting for. The generational curses stop with your pure bloodline today. The heavy invisible chains that bound your beautiful spirit have shattered into dust. You can finally breathe without the suffocating weight of their demonic jealousy sitting on your chest. The universe has completely swept your path clear of all toxic debris. Every single door that was violently slammed in your face is being replaced by a massive golden gate. You are entering a season of unprecedented majestic favor. You are a demonstrated warrior of light. You did not just survive their brutal, scorching fire. You became the beautiful, blazing sun that permanently blinds the dark elite. The universe has officially placed a heavy golden crown upon your head. Your profound silence was the exact weapon that delivered this massive, unshakable victory. Now you must prepare your physical vessel to receive the massive incoming harvest. Your pure heart is no longer a dumping ground for the unhealed trauma of fragile narcissists. You are a sovereign ruler of your own beautiful, energetic domain now. The divine crown sits heavily upon your head because you earned every single jewel through your silent tears. Your incredible endurance proved to the celestial court that you are ready for massive responsibility. The universe completely trusts you with incredible wealth. The celestial gates of infinite abundance are swinging wide open for you. The verdict of explosive wealth and perfect peace has already been signed in heaven. But it requires a physical anchor on this earth to fully activate the majestic blessing. God does not measure your deep faith by your silent thoughts alone. He measures your incredible faith by your absolute speed of obedience. You are standing at the absolute center of a massive timeline shift. The enemy wants you to remain small and terrified of your own massive potential. But you must firmly reject the spirit of poverty and lack right now. The divine wealth transfer is actively happening for the chosen ones who are brave enough to reach out and claim it. You must show the universe that your physical hands are wide open. Heaven is not asking for your patience anymore today. The divine creator is demanding your immediate physical obedience. The massive window of supernatural multiplication is standing wide open right now. But the dark enemy will try to whisper financial doubt into your left brain. He will desperately tell you to hesitate and wait. You must violently silence him. That hesitation is the exact matrix programming designed to keep you broke. If your spirit is vibrating with a cellular knowing right now, heaven demands action. Step through the divine portal immediately. Type 777 in the comments below to physically anchor this exact shift into your reality. Say this out loud with me right now. I claim my permanent absolute freedom. Now type I am free below to lock your beautiful frequency. Share this specific message with one single soul who is desperately crying out in the dark for a massive shift. Be their majestic rescuing angel today. Subscribe to this sacred sanctuary so you never miss the exact prophetic instruction heaven releases next. Drop your city and nation in the comments below. We must map exactly where the powerful remnant is rising worldwide today. You did not survive the blazing fire just to live a mediocre, average life. Prove to the universe that you are finally ready to receive your massive harvest. Sow your seed of faith, or give a super thanks today to partner your finances with this divine mandate. Your incredible generosity triggers the immediate heavy multiplication. Watch heaven multiply your massive harvest before the sun rises tomorrow morning. Do not let the dark matrix steal this massive financial breakthrough from your bloodline. Your physical act of giving is a violent strike against the demonic forces of poverty. When you sow a seed today, you are building an impenetrable wall of fire around your future finances. Heaven responds instantly to the bold chosen ones who move with absolute fearless conviction. Secure your authentic massive blessing right now. The dark witches have been permanently defeated. The one-man army has completely conquered the toxic legion. Walk proudly in your new untouchable authority, chosen one. Your beautiful name is forever inscribed in the heavy book of massive victory. Stay incredibly blessed. Stay fiercely protected. And never ever dim your brilliant light for anyone again.